as a theistic evolutionist then, okay, isn't it a compromise with the world? And doesn't God then become really the God of the gaps? In other words, those questions that evolution leaves hanging, are unable to respond to or answer, doesn't it just become that we fit God into those areas where evolution doesn't give us a response, doesn't supply an answer?
In fact, the opposite, Andre. Let me answer that by way of an illustration again that might make it clearer. Let's say you're explaining an event inside one of Shakespeare's plays. You know, there's a famous scene in Macbeth where Lady Macbeth is washing her hands in her sleep. And it begs for an explanation. She says, our damn spot, or something. And what you would do to explain that event is to look at what happened earlier in the story, to make sense of that. And what you find is that Lady Macbeth was involved in a crime. And this has led to guilt. And guilt had led to troubled sleep and this strange behavior. Now, you can give a very different explanation for that same event, Andre. You could say that Lady Macbeth washed her hands in her sleep because that's what Shakespeare wrote. He's the author, he can do what he likes. Now, are those competing explanations? Clearly not. We don't have to choose between them. It's a case of both and. Now, the explanation in terms of earlier events in the story, that corresponds to what scientists do and what evolutionary biologists do and paleontologists in explaining events in the universe in terms of earlier events in the story. And to say that Shakespeare wrote what he did because he's the author, you're referring to someone outside the story altogether. And in creation we're doing that. Creation is a statement about God who's outside of the story of the universe, and he is ultimately the creator of that story. Now, what's important to see here is that we don't look to something that you can't understand in Shakespeare's plays and say, see, we can't explain this, therefore, Shakespeare wrote the story. We would never think that way. In fact, to argue like that is to argue like the God of the gaps. We find puzzles in science and we say we can't explain this, so therefore we say God did it. It's just because Shakespeare is a good author that you can make sense of the story and be able to explain it. In the same way, it's just because God is a creator, a great creator, a rational creator of the universe, that we can make sense of it.